Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Whether you're watching with our friends over at Torah Anytime, or wherever you watch or listen to your podcast, as always, we're happy to have you along. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. Helps more people find out about this show. And this is part 2 of our interview with one of the heroes of Shmini Atzeres and what was going on. Certainly an unbelievable interview that people have really been enjoying. And the sponsor for this episode is good friends of myself and of the show, Ellie and Rena Gray, an appreciation of Rabbi Orlofsky. And I also want to take this opportunity to mention that Ellie runs a wonderful service called Marietta Trophy. And I don't know how many of you need trophies, but they're good for just anybody. I remember when I was running NCSY, people like trophies. Everybody likes recognition. They're custom high-quality awards for personal recognition, corporate awards, and sports. So maybe if you have a business, you have some employees who might deserve it. If you're running a sports league or you have any kind of an organization, they're memorable and unique designs and for a wide range of occasions. And wherever you are, you can get these. The website is mariettatrophy.com. It's going to be right on your screen. And if you mention code Orlofsky24, you'll get a 10% discount to the end of December. Orlofsky24 for a 10% discount. Visit the website mariettatrophy.com and get that 10% discount. And again, thank you for sponsoring this episode. And I just want to give a shout out to the WhatsApp group. It's right there on your screen, the WhatsApp group that you could join. And there's this is where we get direct information, etc., the fastest way for me to be able to get it out there. And when we didn't have any sponsorships, we reached out to the WhatsApp group, and Baruch Hashem, they came through with 2 sponsorships to be able to make this interview possible. So you might want to think about joining that WhatsApp group. And now part 2 of my interview.
We drove to the closest hospital because they needed it. So when we were on the way there, it's about 25-minute drive. And on the way, there's a story that I can't forget. I remember this guy that was hit, his leg from an RPG is laying down on the stretcher. And this guy is bleeding from his face, sitting down. And the guy who was shot in his leg was sitting near the driver. And we're driving.
He was in the best shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in great shape, better than me. And we started
his leg.
Yeah, but
he recovered.
He recovered. Yeah. There's I don't even remember his name. I don't remember how he looks like. Like, we took that day so many people that were just shot in their leg, and we didn't even have time to really take care of them. Because every person who was like, even when he got to the hospital, hey, hello, what's your name? Great. You're breathing? Okay, wait here on the side till we... Because there's other people that really need... Yeah. Right. So when we were on the way...
But they don't teach you that in Hatzalah. What do you do when you have to do triage? Where like there are 4 people injured, which one do you take? Because Hatzalah doesn't find themselves in those kind of situations.
We do sometimes, but of course, sometimes if you get alone to a car accident with 500 people... But of course, that it's not the same thing, because in a few minutes there's already enough people to take care of everyone. But of course, that you always take care first of the guy who has the most chance to survive.
Did you see at any point during the day any army ambulances coming in?
And towards 8-9 o'clock, there were ambulances.
How is that possible? All right.
Nothing. You can't explain anything that day. You can't explain anything that went like it's supposed to or not went like it's not supposed. Just You kind of, even all the soldiers that were fighting at that point, there wasn't It was people that just heard what's happening.
That's what I
so
heard.
They
That
just
most
left
of the
their house
people,
and
it
came.
wasn't even an organized response. It's people who heard and they just got in their car and ran down with their gun.
Of course. Every person who heard what's going on just took his gun and went into his car and drove down south and started fighting. Just every 3, 4, or 5 people got together and drove to Kfar Aza and started to fight together. Like
I heard
these
the person
3
who was in
guys.
charge was on vacation. And they didn't even wake up Netanyahu.
I don't know, and it doesn't matter.
It would matter to me if there was a war going on and no one bothered telling me. I would get a little touchy if I was in charge.
I understand what you're saying, but I come from a point that it doesn't matter if they're going to wake him up or not wake him up. Everything
This
what
is
happened
just Minashamayim.
was supposed to
Nothing you do.
happen. Doesn't matter if someone else was going to be instead of him, or this is what Hashem wants, and we need to see why He wanted this to happen, and continue being strong and doing the right stuff we're supposed to do. And
What's your answer? Why did this happen?
why not?
Okay. All right. There's one of the more depressing takes I've heard on October 7th. Because we deserved it. Okay? Why this happened? Because we had it coming.
Because why not? Right?
Okay.
We're just the past few years here. We're living, and there's so many people that are not keeping Torah and mitzvos, and there's fighting, and there's so you see that maybe there's a reason we deserve it, but we need to know how to really take it to a good place and not to a bad place.
Starka Musaf from someone who said, I'm not getting up for Shachris. All right, so you keep going back and forth to Kfar Aza. That was your day.
Yeah, basically.
And you were busy the whole time.
Yeah. And at that point, when we were on the way to the hospital, all of a sudden this guy is laying down on the bed, and we give him IV. He's losing a lot of blood, and I'm stopping the bleeding from the guy who's sitting down, and he's bleeding from his face. And I see he's getting pale, and I decide that he needs to get us an IV.
When you say IV, you mean a transfusion, like blood.
Not blood. We don't have blood. We're just EMTs.
They don't give you guys blood?
No. We don't have at that point blood, but we could get him ready to get blood and give him till he gets blood. We could give him
Plasma?
No, not plasma. They give
They
him
don't
in
give
the
you
hospital.
anything? What do they
No.
give you? Like salt water? What
Yep.
That's it.
That's
you give me
what
them
it is.
saline. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It does help if someone's a half hour away from the hospital, and till he gets blood, it does help.
Keeps something in his body going.
Of course. So that's what we did. I decided we should give him IV. So Emmanuel was trying to find a comfortable way to do it while he's standing and this guy is sitting, and he doesn't have really much room in the ambulance to take care of him. So while he's like finding
With people bleeding everywhere.
yeah, of course, the whole ambulance is full of garbage and blood and whatever. So he's trying to find this comfortable way to do it, and wasn't the guy that was on the stretcher. He sees that he's like struggling, so he tells him, "You want him to lay down and I should sit." So we look at each other like, "How are you even able to talk? Like, what's going on here?" And he's like, "Hey," he tells us in this word, "Gever, ani lo yeled, ani yoda ma ani oseh." He's like, "Man, I'm not a boy. I know what I'm doing." He just opens his seatbelt, stands up on one foot, picks his friends up, put him on the stretcher, and sits down. And I think that this is a story it's not going to happen in no other army in the world. And they didn't know each other till an hour before when they started fighting together. And I think that the strength when someone's on the way to the hospital without his foot, and he sees what his friend needs, he sees what someone else's need. I think this is this is us. This is who we are.
Now, Emmanuel was the other
EMT that was with me in the ambulance.
And who was driving?
Avi.
Avi's driving.
Another Avi. Yeah.
Right. And where did Emmanuel come from? Because Avi was driving and he met you.
Yeah, he met me by the entrance to Givat Zev after he picked him.
He already picked up Emmanuel. Okay. So did he get the IV in?
Yeah.
And then did they switch places again?
No, they stayed like that till the hospital.
What were the hospitals like?
when we got there was already a bunch of doctors waiting for us outside.
I mean, it had to be a madhouse in there.
60 beds were already stretched outside just for like, there's just a line of ambulances. Yeah, that were just
They were just
taking
taking
off
them, putting them down.
civilians and soldiers just coming off. Like every ambulance who comes has 2, 3, 4, or 5 people that are injured, and we just drop them off and continue right away.
I don't think it was like this in any other war.
No.
It was more Masudar.
I think that the amount...
Like there were MASH units, you know what I mean? Like medical units out in the battlefield and things like that. There was nothing here.
Right. It's crazy to understand. I think a good example is also when right after we dropped them off, me and Emmanuel were in the back. We started cleaning the ambulance, and we were trying, like we were about to leave. As you're driving, yeah. And all of a sudden, someone knocks on our window, and he tells us, the soldier, and he tells us, I was shot in my hand 3 hours ago, and they treat me over here. They took care of me, and I need to get back to my unit. Where are you going to? So we told him, hop in. We'll take you where you need to get to. So he gets on the ambulance, and me and Emmanuel are cleaning in the back, and we start driving, and he says his unit is in Barry. So we start driving towards Barry, and I remember when we were on the way, Shabbos was over. I was looking at the clock because I really, really, really wanted to smoke a cigarette. So at that point...
Yeah, that's what I'm always thinking during these situations.
Yeah, it was really hard. I smoke, and
see, I'd be looking for a cup of coffee.
Going through this whole, yeah,
I would be looking for a cigarette.
Yeah, and when we were on the way, all of a sudden he got a phone call from his friend that told him,
Barry's finished.
We left Barry. They need us in the Sderot police station. There's a lot of fire over there. They need us over there. So he told us, listen, could you take me to Sderot? We said, of course. We drove there.
So he's got civilians in an ambulance, and there's a firefight going on in Sderot, and says, could you take me to the firefight?
Yeah.
Does anyone see anything wrong with this picture?
No.
Okay, just asking. Just want to make sure I got this all down.
Yeah, this is who we are, and I think that every split second over there, just every person who was there thought what the best thing he can do to help, and just did it.
Now you were in Sderot in the morning already, so
we knew what's going on over there. We took him straight to the police station.
And was there a firefight going on?
Yeah, right when we got there was his whole unit, these 7-8 guys, were standing behind this car. And they were shooting towards the police station. And from the police station, they were shooting towards his unit.
You didn't think they might decide to shoot at this ambulance?
So we didn't really know at that point. And we were driving, and we're driving straight there with all our lights on, and his commander starts screaming at us, what are you doing? They're going to shoot you in a second. Like, come into this driveway and turn your lights off. So right away we turned the lights off. We drove into this small driveway that they shouldn't be able to shoot us. And they start shooting towards us. And we get out of the ambulance. We stand on the other side that we shouldn't get shot. And I told Avi, give me a cigarette.
Give me a cigarette.
And and I think that's really a second. We lit our cigarette and we're smoking. And all of a sudden Avi calls his wife, and he tells him that they're okay, and Emmanuel calls his wife, and I smoke a cigarette. And I
didn't think to call anybody.
Yeah, and I tell them, listen, it's like, by the way, it's Simchas Torah today. Hey, we didn't do Kiddush, we didn't have a kafos, we didn't daven.
Yeah, hakafos. We did hakafos more than 7
different
times.
Different kind of a kafos. But really, like, all of a sudden we like understood like what we went through that day. And we had like these few minutes to relax. When I say to relax,
I'm saying relax when people are shooting at you.
Yeah, one side of the ambulance and the other side is shooting.
Things are nice and calm now.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was just booming there every second. And all of a sudden, this guy's commander comes to us and he says, listen, there's a police that's dead here in the street from 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. could you help us take him? Like, we can't go because every time someone goes to get him, they start shooting towards us.
So maybe you guys could go because you're not like essential personnel.
That's how it's at. No,
we
he
need
said-
all of the soldiers and policemen, but you guys, see how you do.
No, he said you have the stretcher. Maybe it's going to be much easier to do it with the stretcher because it's much easier.
I would say, here, borrow the stretcher. Let me know how it goes. Oh, wait, here. I've got another stretcher. Don't worry about it. Help yourself.
So he told them, of course, because of course. And they told us, wait 1 second. And just 2 people went behind this car and they started giving
Covering fire.
Yeah, covering fire towards the police station. And we ran with 2 soldiers to this policeman's body. We put him on the stretcher. We ran back. It was 10 seconds, 12 seconds maybe.
Well, you weren't going to take him out in the ambulance.
We put him in the ambulance and we drove right to the entrance of Sderot and we put him near the other soldier we put in the morning.
Who was still there?
Who was still there, of course. All the bodies were taken Sunday, some of them on Monday.
Yeah, I know. My son-in-law went in. There was still plenty of bodies everywhere.
Yeah. And after when we got there, while we were dropping him off, while we were taking him off like the stretcher and putting them over there, then of course another car came with two people who were injured. One of them was shot in the stomach, hiding for 12 hours, till they were able to get to him. And we took him also to United a helicopter who took him to the hospital.
Hatzalah has helicopters?
Yeah, 2 of them. They were the first ones to start taking injured people to the hospital.
You think that the army
day.
would have some like medical?
Yeah, they did. At that point at night, there was also.
Yeah, but what about during the
army
day?
helicopter. You can't ask questions. I have no idea. I don't know.
So
No one knows.
So now it's already what 8:00 at night,
Now it's around eight something. Yeah.
and you take these 2 people.
We take these 2 people out to Tzomet Cheletz, and when we get to Tzomet Cheletz, there was a helicopter, and there's a room in the helicopter for 2 patients. There was 1 soldier that was inside already, and there was room for 1 more. And when we got there, we said, okay, like he's going to the helicopter for sure. He was still conscious, but he needed the helicopter. And while the United doctor comes and checks him to see if he wants to give him medicine, like right before they put him in a helicopter or something, well, then another ambulance comes with a soldier that's unconscious. So I understand that our patient is going to need to go in a regular ambulance. So I say, okay, and the doctor runs to the other ambulance to check the other patient, and he comes to me and he says, Avi, K, take your patient to the helicopter. So I look at like, you're the doctor, we do what you say, but like, you're sure? So he tells me, of course. I said, like, why? So he says, your patient has much more chances to survive. And that's the decisions we need to make that day. Like it was the right decision, and it's
How did the
a hard
guy in the
decision.
other ambulance do?
He just drove
make
to the
it?
hospital. They're both alive today. But the other guy that went with the ambulance is still in the hospital, and he's still unconscious, but he's still alive. It's a really hard decision that the doctor made, but that's what it was. That's
Right.
what you had to make the decision, and it was the right one.
So you had to drive to the hospital.
No, we no.
You gave it to a different
Our
ambulance.
patient went to the helicopter, and the other ambulance.
But you had 2 in your ambulance.
Yeah, one of them went with the ambulance. One of them was just shot in his hand. So
I guess if you had shot in both your legs and you could run back and forth, then getting shot in your hand is like it's all a day's work.
You could wait here till there's like 4 or 5 of you, and then we'll take an ambulance to take you to the hospital. Cause
It's like a Sheirut when you come back from the airport.
yeah, it's like a VIP taxi. You know.
I've been shot. Yeah, we're waiting to fill up. We got room for 3 more, so I'm not going yet. You know, I'm not
That's
going
what
with a
it
half full
was.
Sheirut.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So
Crazy.
so now you go back to Sderot?
After this, we drive back to Kfar Aza.
Back to Kfar Aza,
Yeah.
which is still shooting up. And are they still shooting in
up.
Sderot?
They're still shooting in Sderot. They're still shooting in Kfar Aza. They're still shooting in Be'eri.
It's ridiculous.
They were hundreds. They just didn't stop coming. I think like through the I try sometimes to think about a different way, because I say like through this whole day there were over 3,000 terrorists that came in from Gaza, and there were 12,500 people that were killed. It's every two of them killed less than one. It's I saw with how much ammo they came in. Like each one came in to kill at least 30 people. Like if you look Derech HaTeva, it was supposed to be much more than a few thousand.
Right.
They came in 3,000. Like you can say each one is going to kill 2, 3, at least. They came in with ammo to kill 30, but 2, 3 at least. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000. And it's 1,200. It's the numbers, the Derech HaTeva, they don't get together. Also by the Nova Festival, like I look at it, there was 3,500 people there, all waiting on the Gaza Strip, and there were 350 people killed. It's 1 out of 10.
How is that possible?
It's crazy. If you look at it that way, then you understand that really Hashem was here every single second. Every single bullet knew exactly where it's going to. It's crazy. Also, like the stories people are telling us through the day,
I knew this fellow who came from South Africa, and he was in town when a terrorist attack took place, and he was injured, had shrapnel on him. So people said, "Are you afraid now to live in Israel?" And he says, "No, because I know from South Africa." He was in the South African army. He says, "Every bullet has a name on it, and you know where you're going to go and what's going to be." So
you see, there's 10 friends just running in a field, and some get shot, and some like it's.
I don't know how anybody made it out. Like, what? I mean, there were enough terrorists to be able to get them. Especially here when you're in a big open field. I understand you could hide in a garbage can. You could hide over there. You could go into.
But like how it was a big open field. You're in the middle of the field.
Where are you supposed to go?
It's crazy. It's 1 out of every 10 was killed. It's Derech HaTeva. It's nothing. It's hard because each one of them has a story and has a family and has a story behind him. Each one was a person. But if you look at the numbers, it was supposed to be so much more.
So you're back to Kfar Aza.
We're back to Kfar Aza at night. We wait there at that point. We see her, and when we get there back, we weren't over there for like 2 hours because we had the whole thing around Sderot until we went to the hospital and left. So at that point, we see that there's so much army already by the entrance, so many jeeps and soldiers that are going in.
You don't think they need you?
We think at that point that they're probably not going to need us over there anymore, because we saw also that different ambulances were waiting there. We saw like 3-4 ambulances waiting there. So we continued to...
That's all the ambulances?
Yeah, it's all ambulances.
You guys were the only ones who were there?
Yeah.
Did the government say anything to you guys afterwards?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Why did you... why did you send the helicopters even though you weren't allowed to?
That's what they said.
Yeah.
And they didn't say to you, wow, you got it there first before our ambulances
did. We're the only organization that doesn't owe nothing to anyone.
And no one said,
we did the most
wow, you guys deserve citations for bravery and for going out there. And that they're like, the
soldiers that were there and the civilians that were there who saw us, everyone told us, like, wow, kol hakavod that you're going in. But like people, of course, like private people come and say thank you. And
how could the people in charge not recognize that you were the only ones there? You're the only ambulances there saving people.
Whoever needs to know knows really the truth, and he knows
I understand why. Because otherwise they have to say, how come we didn't send any ambulances and we didn't send any helicopters, and a bunch of schmerals and barrels over here from Hatzalah on some Torah have to come out with their ambulances and go and save everybody.
Right.
Some Haredi ambulance system is the only ones fighting in the south. I see where that might not fit into their narrative.
Right. But yeah, that's what it was. Again, I can't go and ask questions to anyone. I'm not.
The media
in the
reached out
right
to you
place.
afterwards?
Yeah.
How soon after?
They did this whole big TV show 3 weeks after October 7th. The second they heard that we had... It's in Uvda. It's 12 channel.
It wasn't Reshet Aleph or Shtayim or one of the big channels.
Uvda. It's on Reshet 12. It's very, very big. It's like the almost...
Yeah, but 12, isn't that like the right-wing channel?
No, it's the left.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the most viewed show in Israel. The show that they did about us. It had 1 million of views, and so many people reached out to us after. Thank you. We were looking for you. Thank you for getting us out. Some called us that we took care of their parents or their brothers or their sisters or their kids. And it did a big Kiddush Hashem.
These are secular people who are interviewing you, and their attitude is kol kavod, or who told you could go there?
Who told me I could go there?
No, I'm saying, like there was a guy during the second Intifada, there was a briefcase filled with explosives that somebody left in Meir Sharm, and it was attached to a phone so that when the phone rang, it would blow up. And the guy happened to notice it. So he pulled out the wire. So when the phone rang,
nothing happened.
Yeah, and I understand he was taken in for tampering with the bomb. Unauthorized tampering with the bomb.
It sounds like something that's going to happen in Israel.
Guys, So these people, at least in the program, they recognize what you guys did.
Yeah. People know
did
that
they
we
use
were
the
really
footage from
there.
the ambulance?
Yeah. It's an amazing. They did something really, really nice. And by today, while I'm trying to get back to work, to the weddings and to the DJ jobs. Besides that, I continue go all over the world, and I try to say our story, because I think it's not only my story. I think it's the whole Am Yisrael story, and I think it's very important that other people should hear it, and know what we went through that day.
So what time did you finish now? This is
we got home at 1 o'clock.
Saturday night.
We got home around 1 o'clock. We left here around 11 something.
Was there anybody in charge who said, "Okay, you guys go now," or this was completely up to you?
It was basically up to us.
It wasn't the solar people in charge. It wasn't the army.
It was
up to you to make the decision.
He couldn't stop us to say, no, stay here, we need you. He knew that when we want to leave, we're just going to leave, because
I'd been going nonstop.
Yeah, and we left when we saw that really there's enough ambulances in the areas that needed ambulances. We went home, we took a shower, we went to sleep for 3-4 hours, and we were back south at 7 o'clock in the morning.
And the next day, which this is Sunday now.
Yeah, Sunday we still took a few injured people.
But it wasn't like
it wasn't like the day before. There was a lot
Where
of
were you
army
going
already. At that point, we were near the Nova Festival, Be'eri, Kfar Aza.
How bad was Be'eri?
Very bad. Still,
but there were no
bodies
terrorists
all
there
over.
anymore.
They were still fighting, but again, it wasn't like the day before. Like, they were hiding, and every few hours, sometimes, like, someone jumped out from where he was hiding and started shooting. But there was already a lot of army there, and everything was like.
So you went to the Nova Festival, and there were injured people anyplace?
Not a lot. Dead. Yeah. At that day, we took 2 or 3 injured civilians that were shot, also from terrorists that came out in Sderot even. Terrorists that were like hiding in these trees or something for a few hours, and just like jumped the day after when they saw a civilian walking there. They just started shooting them. And some soldiers. We were there the whole day. Monday we were giving out food to all the soldiers in Kfar Aza. We went to buy we saw that they didn't have what to eat. So we went and we bought 800.
Even 2 days later, they weren't able to get food for the...
No, it was really...
My
really,
son-in-law said the same thing when he was there. He says
it was really amazing, and we had a really big siyata d'shmaya, because I remember that Sunday we went in the morning, we bought 800 hot meals.
From where?
From a friend that has a store in Yerushalayim. We bought...
Give him a shout out.
His name is Nisim. He doesn't own it. He works it. So
Which store is this?
it's in Atarot. They make food for like yeshivas and stuff like that. It's not like a store that he sells food.
Okay.
So we ordered from him 800 hot meals that were ready the day after, and we took it down to Kfar Aza. And right when we got there, all the soldiers that were in Kfar Aza, that it was 720 something soldiers at that point, they all came out, and 720 new different ones went in.
So who got the food? The one coming out or one coming in?
Out. All the guys that were coming out, they came out. They were just bunch of...
There's just an ambulance waiting there with exactly enough hot meals.
Exactly. And every single one of them got a hot meal. People told us that they didn't eat hot food from Friday night, from their meal at home on Friday, and like 7 o'clock in the morning Shabbos they left and they didn't have normal food. And they were so happy, and
nobody said yeshiva food. This is what you're giving us.
No, they were really, really happy to eat, and just every single one of them, they came out and they were going on to buses that took them back to their base. So just every single one who went on the bus, we just gave them straight hot food to eat on the way home, on the way to their base, and before they went into Gaza a week later.
You have enough room in an ambulance for 800 hot meals?
Yep. We put it in a lot of boxes.
I guess you could put in 8 wounded people.
Yeah.
You put in 800 meals.
Yeah, he closed it really, really good in boxes.
It was still warm.
Yeah, it was really, really hot still. And there was 800 meals. We bought a lot of drinks and apples and pears, and just gave it all out there, and they were really, really happy. Wednesday, we were in Kfar Aza going through all the houses together with the army to take out bodies and to help them with whatever they needed. This first...
How come Hatzalah is still there? Why isn't the army taking over? This is Wednesday now. Why aren't they in charge?
They did take over. It's not that they needed us, I think. I think we were there, so we were just helping. They could have do the same thing, I think, without us. But we were there, so like, why not to help?
So Thursday, Wednesday, though, there's no wounded anymore. Now it's just collecting the dead.
Collecting the dead, and I remember Thursday morning we left the house and we decided we're gonna go. This first soldier we took, the dead soldier we took from Route 34 with his M16.
Yeah, right at the beginning.
Yeah, so he
was still there.
No, we went to be Menachem Aval's family. He was one of the first bodies taken care of, and his levaya was already Tuesday.
He lived where?
He lived in Rishon LeZion, I think it was.
So what was he doing in Sderot?
He left his house the second he heard something's going on.
And got killed right away.
He was on the way. He was on the way to his base, and we sat with his wife and with his parents. He was 20 years old. He was married for three months. His wife was pregnant. She just had a small baby boy a few months ago. They gave us this whole really nice book that they put out about him. His name is Amit. And today we understand why we had that feeling that we can't leave him.
We found him. We didn't want to leave him. We took him out.
Yeah, I told the family were very, very happy that we did it. And they started telling us stories about him, and that I think that's why we all of a sudden understood why we had that feeling that we can't leave him there. He was really like a very big tzaddik. He used to wake up every Shabbos for nates and go daven. And he was a really, really special guy.
He was a firm guy.
He was a firm guy, and
you didn't know that when you saw him.
We didn't know that. And really, after they told the stories, we understand why we had that feeling that second that we can't leave him there. And I till today, like, he was the first body that was taken care of already at 12 o'clock. There was people a few meters from him that were in the same position till Monday morning even. So really, he was the first guy to be taken care of, and
with that kind of heat, it's probably not good for the body.
It's not good at all. Yeah.
I mean, by the kind of time you came around to start collecting on Monday and Tuesday, I mean, it must have been.
It was it was bad already. The main roads, there was already people that took Sunday, Monday. Sunday and Monday they took from all the like main roads and big places, and Barry was Tuesday. Kfar Aza was only Wednesday. It was the last places. Was the last
place. Going on.
Yeah, till Wednesday. No one was allowed to go in to get bodies yet. Even like all the
fighting stopped Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday afternoon already. Everything was basically finished there. Yeah, and then Thursday we went to be Menachem Avil.
So that was it. You didn't have to go back down anymore on Thursday. Yeah.
No, from then but Matzei Shabbos we went north.
So this whole day when you're running back and forth, you didn't run out of equipment?
The truth is that United Tzala sent already 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 about, arrived by Tzomet Cheletz, 2 very big trucks full of trauma kits, IVs, just everything.
Hatzola is the one sending the medical supplies.
Yeah, and every time we went back to Tzomet Cheletz, we took with us a few boxes of equipment, and we gave them to soldiers by the entrance to Kfar Aza or doctors that were going in to treat people. And
you were the only ones with medical equipment. There was nobody else around.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so by Wednesday, you're all done. Oh, so Motzi Shabbos, you said. You went back.
Yeah, Matzei Shabbos, we went north. We thought that something's going to happen over there.
But it didn't.
It did start. We did take 2 soldiers that were injured over there. But it was not much. We were there like for 4 or 5 days, but they didn't really need us there.
We're up north.
We were on the border. Basically, we said hello to Hezbollah.
Well, you should have been saying goodbye because
yeah,
you could have just paged them. You know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, that's what it was. And the week after, we started getting back to work and try to get back to ourselves.
So, I mean, how do you get over something like this?
You don't.
Do they offer you some kind of like?
Yeah, of course. That's all I think.
Crisis management, therapy, something.
They do. They give you everything you need. Therapy. Every person who's there needs therapy. I always say that if I wasn't gonna believe in Hashem, I was gonna jump out the window Sunday morning. You can't see what you see and wake up the same thing in the morning.
In other words, besides the injured people who are bleeding all over the place, you're driving past hundreds of dead bodies.
Yeah. The whole day back and forth, yeah.
And they just started shooting up all the cars and everything, the people were driving.
That's what they did. That's what they came to do. They came to kill us. But we're still here.
It's interesting because Be'eri is secular. Kfar Aza is secular. What were the other places that were hit very bad?
Those were the 2 most bad places. It was all different. There was army bases that were really bad. Nachalos, Mefalsim.
Because I don't know where there was... My son-in-law said that when he was, they sent him in to collect the bodies. And he said, normally I'm on the battlefield. And I'm collecting the people who got killed on the battlefield. That's my job. And he says, okay, so you're dealing with soldiers and you're in wartime. He says, but here I'm walking into a house and the table is set for Shabbos. You know what I mean? And you see everything all set up and it's Shabbos Yontif and everybody's dead.
Yeah. That's what it was. You see houses that family, like the whole family is dead and the sukkah is still outside. was right after Sukkot. It's pictures that you can't forget. It's stuff that you go to sleep with them till today and wake with them. You wake up in the morning with those pictures. It doesn't leave you. You can't forget them. But I always feel that like Hashem gives us the strength to be there and do what we did, then he also gives us the strength to continue and be good in what we're doing. It's not easy stuff. It's even me before that I saw hard stuff. I did CPR on my friend's baby on the Shabbos table near the Chalas. It's pictures you can't forget.
Somebody
I was
told
in
me
Meron. I did their CPR on 4 people.
somebody told me if you
It's
do
pictures
CPR,
you can't forget.
if you do CPR right, you end up breaking the ribs. So you can't really
sometimes.
do CPR unless you break the ribs because you have to.
No,
push
it's
hard.
not. It's not right. The right way to do CPR is to stop a second, millimeter before you break the ribs. But almost every CPR you break ribs. It's part of the doing CPR. It happens a lot. But it happens. And the stuff you see as an EMT, it's not easy stuff. It's and it's stuff also that built you on. But October 7th was different. I think also the way that people were shot and the way everything, and also the amount of people.
What do you mean the way they were shot?
It's the terrorists. Almost everyone, after they shot them, they just pulled them out of the car. You
Why?
should see that something.
What was the?
I don't know why they did it, but when you come and see it like that, when you come and near every single car, you see 2-3 bodies. It's a much harder scene. I believe some of them they wanted to kidnap. I don't know. I don't want to think like they were thinking that day.
I definitely heard there were stories of where they, after they killed them, they mutilated the bodies.
Right.
You saw some of that too?
Not in my eyes, but I saw a lot of burnt bodies. I saw it's pictures you can. I have good friends that saw. I heard from firsthand, not from.
They were burning down houses. You mentioned.
Right.
So you saw any of these houses like being burned?
Of course.
Down? Yeah.
Of course, you have nothing to do at that point. This house is burning for a few hours already. You know that there's no one to save. You don't have time to start trying to turn this fire off and trying to look for people, because at this time you could go save others.
The safe rooms don't sound like they were too safe.
What they did, the mamad is basically, it's built for if a missile falls near you, then you are going to stay safe. It does that very well. But if a terrorist comes, there's no lock on the mamad. You just close the door very hard and that's it. So if a terrorist comes and just opens the door and comes in, that's a mamad is not going to help much. And that's what they did, because they all got there. So some people were able to really lock their mamadim. But what the terrorists did, if it was locked and they weren't able to open it, they just started burning it from the outside. So the second they started burning it, people they couldn't breathe. So they opened the window a tiny bit. And the second they opened the window, then the terrorists come in from the window. So that's what it was.
Have you gone back to these communities?
Yeah, I go a lot to speak. A lot of times I want to go back to these places to speak.
Like since this whole thing is over, have you gone to Be'eri?
Yeah. I remember about 3 weeks after October 7th, I was on the way to army base. I was on the way to a few soldiers before they were going into Gaza. I was with all my DJ equipment. We were on the way. We wanted to make supper for them to make them a little happy before they go into Gaza. So I'm driving. I'm alone in my car with music. My car is full of equipment. And all of a sudden I find myself on one of the roads I was driving 3 weeks before. And all of a sudden, like, everything came back to me. It's the first time I cried after something I saw, because of something I saw. I just stopped on the side and I was crying like a baby for an hour. But I feel that it helped me so much. It let a lot out of me. So after I went to the base, I felt that it did so good for me. So I drove back from there, and of course nothing happened. But
and Kfar Aza you've gone back to?
Kfar Aza I gone back to, and Be'eri. I was there. I go a lot to speak for all different people who come to Israel and want to hear. So a lot of times they go to Kfar Aza and to where the
people are
party
still
was.
living in Kfar Aza?
Now, no. Now,
Kfar
no.
Aza is empty.
It's
And so is
empty.
Be'eri.
Right. But there's a lot of people that want to see what we went through and want to see what happened. So a lot of people, groups or whatever that come here. So I go with them back there and I show them what we went through, where we drove.
You take groups.
Yeah. And I think it's part of my schos to say over our story. I see the impact it gives to people, and I see what it does to people, that all of a sudden they understand what we went through that day. So
I don't know
think
how
I
anyone
have
can
to
understand it.
I think that
It's a
even if
year
we speak
later,
here
and
for
I
another
can't-
year, I'm not going to be able
I
to
can't wrap my head
to
around
really
it.
explain the smell over there and the pictures that you see. It's stuff you can't explain. You just can't. But you could give your feelings
I'm trying to
over.
also picture this hostage caravan that they're taking away down there. I don't know. Nobody saw it. The soldiers or anything like that to try to intervene.
Every single person there that was working alone. There was nothing that was
No coordination.
no coordination. Everyone came and just did what he thought the right thing to do is. Till 10 o'clock at night, that then slowly commanders came and people started working together. But till then, just every single person just went and did what he thought the right thing is. There's so many people that did so many big things. And I think that also was something that the terrorists that came in weren't ready for. That the second they're going to come in, just every person who has a gun at home and heard what's happening drove there, and they weren't ready for that. And I think that's the story of Am Yisrael.
I don't know.
That's who
it
we
seems
are.
to me that if some guy's coming at me with a gun and I've got an RPG, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be so afraid of him.
You are.
Unless he's a sharpshooter, you know? The missiles were unbelievable. I was here in Har Novo. We see all the missiles coming. My kids live in Beit Shemesh. They happen to have been Ramat Beit Shemesh. They happen to be by me for Yontif, but a missile fell right on their street.
Yeah, it's something that you're not prepared for. You're not ready for it, and that's why it's maybe even a little more scary because of that. But today, what we're going through is not much better. Like there's missiles every single day, hundreds of them. But now we wake up in the morning and we know it's going to happen, so it's not that scary, I guess. Of course, it's different because then there were terrorists running between us. But I think that we need to say thank you that we're here and continue doing good stuff.
So now you're back to your regular Hatzalah calls, dealing with broken legs and cut fingers and and how's the ambulance?
Working hard.
No, I'm saying they were able to fix it up after you smashed through the gate.
Yeah.
And have all the mess in the back and everything. They were able to clean it up.
I think they're gonna give Avi the driver a new one. They just got 30 new ones. I think he's one of the people that are gonna get a new one too. When he goes on this next shift, they're gonna let him have one of the new ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm a lot more hesitant now to go in an ambulance when I hear about what goes on in them. To have to be there. All right. So that's the message. The message is that every single person has an opportunity where they have to make a decision if they're going to stand up. And there's nobody to tell you what to do.
We're all going to stand up. Each one has his different way to do that.
Yeah.
Mine is an ambulance. Other people's are to daven. Other people's are to go down with their gun and shoot terrorists. And each one has his way of doing his thing.
I'm thinking of all the other ambulances that did not go in, that was standing there till 3:00, because you just decided to break the rules.
Well, if we were going to get shot, then they were going to be very happy that they.
So it ended well.
Stayed here.
They got killed. We were right.
We did right. So
each time you came back, they were like, "Darn it, they're still okay."
No, they were happy to see us.
No, because listen,